Today, we are going to be talking about how to be a high value man. I made a whole list, the attributes of a high value man. And if you can gain these attributes, you can become a high value man. And I'm not talking about the ridiculous, what is a high value man? I'm talking about a real, true high value man. Okay, so first one here, and one of the most important ones is that he takes responsibility, right? And so if you want to be a high value man, you need to take responsibility for everything that happens in your life, whether it's your fault or not. I get it. It's not your fault. A lot of things that happen in your life, but it doesn't matter because it's still your responsibility. If you're driving in your car and someone rear ends you and they smash up your car, you might say, hey, it's not my fault. It doesn't change the fact that if they're an uninsured motorist and they don't have any insurance, that you have to get that fixed. Now, maybe you have insurance because you were smart enough to have insurance and that will be taken care of by insurance, or you're going to have to pay for it out of pocket. Regardless of your fault or not, it's your responsibility. And there are certain men who will not ever become high value men who continue to have the victim mindset and do not take personal responsibility for their life. And because of that, they will never achieve anything. You have to, in order to have sovereignty over your life, over control over your life, you must first take responsibility, because if you delegate the responsibility, then you delegate the freedom, the power. You're giving away your sovereignty. So you cannot become high value without having that. Now, the second thing is that you have to be able to provide for yourself and others. Important. A lot of you guys, I understand you're living at home. You're not able to provide for yourself right now. That's fine. Just understand that you cannot be a man yet, or especially not a high value man. I'm not bashing you. I did some videos in the past talking about how a man does not live at home with his parents. It is true. I'm not saying this to attack you. Don't misinterpret this. I'm saying this because this is a true reality of life, of the situation. And I'm saying this because I'm imploring you to get out of the situation and to become someone who is able to sustain himself and other people. If we were going to go back into the history of humankind, and we were to go back to when men had to fight and die and we were in tribes, how would we define a high value man there? We would definitely have said that he takes responsibility, but we would have also said that he needs to at least be able to provide for himself and some other people in the tribe. Otherwise, he wouldn't be very valuable. If the tribe had to support him because he couldn't take care of his own needs and he couldn't help anyone else, he wouldn't be very high value. And so that's the thing that you guys have to understand. And the first thing, stop it. Stop it with okay, well, you're a boomer. You don't know what it's like, the older generation. The boomers, they had a time of plenty and it's so hard. Prices are so high. No one can buy a house now. I don't want to hear any of that because it doesn't matter. I don't care if you have to share a space. Whatever you have to do to become self-sufficient, you must do it, and then to be able to provide for others. And it might be a long-term plan. It might be the smartest thing for you right now to stay with your parents for the next year. But it really shouldn't extend beyond that. Have a long-term plan to become responsible and to become financially able to provide for yourself and others. Now, if you don't know how to do that and you need some help and you want some help to become financially free, click the link down below, 15-minute call. You can jump on a call with me or someone on my team who will help you set up a financial plan so that you have no excuse, because we're going to help you to do that and show you the path to become financially free. It's something that I did. At 33, I became financially free. Heck, at 18, I moved out of the house, but I still didn't have it all figured out. But I did figure it out, and I can help you to do that. So click the link down below if you want to do that. Now, next one is to lead. If you want to be a high value man, you have to be able to lead people. That doesn't mean that you order people around and boss them around. It means that you lead by example, because you are wise, because you have worked hard. People will follow you. You have to be able to lead. That also means to be able to take charge of a situation, to not just say, oh, I don't know. What do you want to eat for dinner? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you think? Take charge. Lead. Say, this is what we're going to do. And you might get some opposition. It doesn't mean you have to be a dictator, but in the absence of direction, you take direction. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you want to be a high value man, you're going to lead. And if you see it in reality, where you see men that are high value, what are they doing all the time? They're giving the direction. They're not giving orders. They're giving the direction. There's a difference between that. It's not about barking orders at people. It's about taking initiative, saying, all right, here's what we're going to do. It's about proactively solving problems and pointing in the right direction. And believe me, if you're this kind of guy, women will follow you. Other men will follow you because people like to be led. 100% do if you do it in the right way. Let's move on to the next one. Physically fit. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to have amazing guns and be Hercules or be ripped. You don't have to do that. You don't have to have six-pack abs. None of that stuff is required, but you got to be able to hold your own. You got to be a man who looks like a man, who possesses some amount of strength. And a lot of this has to do with the mental conditioning that is involved with that. See, if you let yourself go, if you let yourself get fat and out of shape and be lazy, what does it say about yourself? How are you going to be high status? You're not going to be high status. Again, go back to anytime you want to figure out what's high status, go back to the tribal days, how our brains are wired. What makes someone high status is back when we lived in tribes and we had small communities of people that had to fight and kill. Being physically fit was essential. And it's not that hard. Go to the gym, go for some runs. I've got plenty of content in the Bulldog Mindset membership on fitness plans, on running plans, even ultra running plans. Go sign up. Go to bulldogmindset.com and you can sign up there. I'm not even going to put the link in the description. If you want to book a call, you can click that link there. But you can become fit. It is not a valid excuse. And think about it. What high status man do you know that's not fit? Maybe there's a few of them, but for the most part, it's part of taking responsibility. You have to be able to play the part. The next one here. Socially calibrated. We could say that you have communication skills, people skills. It means that you know what to say and how to say things in the right way, that you've got some experience doing that, right? This is why I try to teach you guys to go out and talk to women. Don't use just a dating app. Instead, just go out and talk to women. You want to meet women, go and talk to them. You're going to develop your social skills. Right? Believe me, I was not someone who was socially calibrated. I was someone who was shy, was introverted, was someone who didn't know how to communicate, but I had to learn that. I'm doing these YouTube videos. I've been doing podcasts. I am not the guy that I was, but I worked on that. You really couldn't be a high value man without being somewhat articulate. You know, a lot of you guys are fans of Andrew Tate. Good. What's one thing that he is that makes him, I would say, high value is that he articulates well. He has social skills. He knows how to interact with people. He has charisma. So you have to learn that thing. Next one, really important, courageous. There's a lot of guys out here that are cowards. It's an unfortunate truth, but you're not going to be a high value man if you're a coward. In fact, there's a reason for this. Jordan Peterson, he was talking about how a coward is a dangerous man. Why? Because that's a guy that's going to stab you in the back. So people aren't going to consider you high value if they know that you're not courageous, if they think that you're a coward, because that means you're untrustworthy. Because someone who's a coward is someone who's looking out for themselves and their own interest. And so when it comes down to a dangerous situation, guess what they're going to look to do? They're going to look to preserve their own hide instead of protecting the tribe, protecting the family, protecting the people around them. They're going to turn on you in order to save themselves. That's why that is very important. You can't control fear, but you can always choose to have courage. Next one, emotional mastery. We can think of emotional intelligence, okay, your EQ factor. What this means is that you are stable. That's the best way that I can put this. It means that your internal emotions do not affect your actions and your external. So you can be internally, you can feel emotions. A lot of guys get this wrong. They think about Stoic philosophy and they're like, okay, I don't feel emotions. No. The very definition of Stoicism is indifference to pleasure or pain. What that means, it means that it doesn't influence your actions. It means that if you're in great pain, you will continue to run. You will continue to work out. You will continue to stand there and listen calmly to a woman that's venting at you. You will do that. You're not going to be led around by your ball sack just because some girl comes along and gives you pleasure. Again, I'm being pretty blunt here, but you understand what I'm saying? That you're not going to just all of a sudden go off your diet because there's chocolate cake because you're getting pleasure. You understand what I'm saying? And so emotional mastery is your ability to not get rid of your emotions, but to master them, to be able to control them instead of them controlling you. Very important. Next one here. You have to have a purpose, a mission. A man without a mission is not a man, is not a high value man. Ambition. We can describe this in many different ways, but you have to have something that is driving you, that is pushing you forward, that you are going after. That's when you're going to be performing your best. That's when these other attributes are going to fall more in line, is when you're trying to accomplish something. And if you're not trying to accomplish something, you're going to feel like a piece of shit and you're going to appear like one. It doesn't even matter what it is. I was talking to Grant Cardone one day and I was asking him about this because I was like, man, a lot of the guys I'm helping, they're like, they don't know what they should do. I tell them not to follow their passion, but they don't know which thing that they should pursue. And he's like, it doesn't matter. He's like, just pick something and pursue it with everything you got, and you will find purpose in it. And I was like, that's pretty damn insightful. That is absolutely true. So do that. Pick something, have some kind of mission or purpose in life. You cannot just be drifting. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as you have something. Now, if you got the time to pick something good, then do it, but do it quickly. Next one, being the man, but treating others as if they are the man. And what that comes from is from a deep security in yourself, knowing that you are the man. You don't have anything to prove to anyone. And so because of that, you can lift other people up and make them feel good about themselves. We see the opposite happen with low value men. If you're a high value man, you want to lift other people up. And the number one way you can detect a low value man is if he brings other people down. Anyone you ever see bringing other people down, whether they deserve it or not, is a low value man, because he feels the need to stoop down to humble other people. It's not necessary. Instead, humble yourself, because you don't need the glory. You don't need to draw attention to yourself. You know that you are the brightest light in the room. And so you're going to make little of it. You're going to be like, no, don't look at me. Look over here. Oh, wow, your light is bright. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you get this, give me a thumbs up on this video. Or leave a comment down below. Say, I get this, man. I get this. Next one, speaks the truth in love. This is about being true and speaking your truth. But I added in love here is because some people take this the wrong way. They think that they're high value if they're like, all right, I'm just telling them how it is. Again, part of being the man and treating people like they're the man is speaking the truth when you need to speak the truth to someone, but doing it in love. It's a challenge to do this. A lot of us, we're trying to one-up people. We're telling them why they're wrong. We're speaking our truth that we think is our truth, not because we want to help the other person, but because we want to show how smart we are, how right we are, how wrong they are. That's not speaking the truth in love. Speaking the truth in love, most of the time, it happens in private. It's pulling someone aside and saying, hey, brother, there's something I got to talk to you about. And this is something that is on my heart. I got to tell you about this thing. You know what I mean? And I want to see you succeed in life. And here's the thing. It's doing it that way. It's doing it in a gentle, kind way. Having empathy and compassion for other people. It brings us back to emotional mastery, emotionally intelligent, or socially calibrated, however you want to put this. But the other side of this is there's a lot of guys that don't speak the truth at all. They don't speak their truth. Instead, they're nice guys, pushovers. They let women take advantage of them. They don't speak up for themselves. They're people pleasers. So it's important to speak the truth, your truth, even if it's going to hurt people's feelings, even if it's going to offend people. But if you're doing it out of love and in a loving way, then you'll be doing right, regardless of how people take it and interpret it. You're not responsible for their feelings, but you are responsible for the way that you deliver things and your intent behind them. The next one is that a high value man lives by his principles, not the principles of other people, not the thumbs up or the thumbs down of other people, not by whether this person likes me or this person doesn't, or 99 out of 100 people say I'm wrong. It doesn't matter. It matters, what do I think? My principles. What is important to me? Now, a smart man, a wise man, grows and changes those principles when the time is necessary. Not because it's convenient for him, but because he has learned a new thing. But a man that doesn't live by his principles is not a high value man. He's not much of a man at all. Again, he's not stable. He's not reliable. You can't trust him because you don't know what motivates him. In fact, you do know what motivates him is his own self-preservation, just like the coward. But a man that lives by principles, that's a man that you can trust. You know what he's going to do. You know why he's going to do it. You can predict his behavior to some degree. And because of that, you can rely on him, which makes him high value. Think about back to the tribes again. A man who's in a tribe where you're fighting for your life, you're fighting the enemy, you're fighting for food, you're fighting to survive. If you've got a man that has principles that he lives by, you trust that guy. You know what he's going to do. You know how he's going to act and behave. You know he's not going to turn tail and run. That courage maybe is a principle that he lives by, or honor. And because of those principles, that you can trust this guy and you can go and you can turn your back and he's going to get your back. Do you understand what I'm saying? Next one, always developing himself. A high value man is never done with his personal growth. He never believes he's made it. He's continually going, continually pushing. One of the things when I became financially free, in fact, I still get this all the time. People are like, John, if you're financially free, if you retired, why are you still working? Really? If you have to ask me that question, you don't get it. Because I'm always going to still be growing, man. I'm always going to still be going after the next thing, climbing the next mountain. I'm out here this morning running. I ran 15 miles yesterday. I'm going to keep on pushing. It doesn't matter. I never make it. I'm always growing. I'm learning. I'm developing myself. I still have a lot to learn. I still have a lot to develop. I still have little edges I'm shaving off of my emotional mastery, of the principles that I have. I'm learning those things. I'm shaving those things. I never am going to make it, but I'm going to keep on developing and keep on growing. And so if you want to be a high value man, that's what you have to do. A low value person thinks they already know it. They think they don't need to learn anything anymore. They think this is how I am. Next one, consistent, reliable, and committed. I put this all together. A high value man is someone, again, like I said, you can trust. They're consistent, they're reliable, they're committed. They put their mind to something and they execute on it and they do it. Again, Bulldog mindset came from this idea of grabbing onto something and not letting go. This is what a high value man does, is he is consistent. He shows up every day, whether he feels like it or not, especially on the days that he doesn't feel like it. That's when he double times it because he knows that's the opportunity to grow. He's reliable. You can trust him. You can count on him. When he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. And he's committed till the action is done. Till we're done working, he's working. Till the day is done, till that clock rings, he is going to keep on going. The next one is that he possesses true confidence, not fake confidence, not arrogance. The difference between arrogance and confidence is arrogance is trying to convince someone of something that you don't believe about yourself, and confidence is knowing it. True confidence means that the possible outcomes of the situation and that no matter what happens, you're going to be okay. You only get that from experience and from moving yourself outside of your comfort zone. So a truly confident man, a high value man, is someone who has gained experience through repetitions. And so if you don't go and do the work and you don't put yourself out there and you don't expand your comfort zone and go talk to the girl and go start the business, go talk in front of the people, go do the thing that scares you, you're not going to gain confidence and you'll have to fake it, and you can't fake confidence. A high value man seeks internal validation, not external validation. A lot of you guys are seeking external validation still, and I get it and I understand it, and that was me at one point, but you got to stop. If you want to become high value, you have to start seeking internal validation, meaning what? It means that I don't care whether this girl likes me. I don't care whether this guy likes me. I don't care whether society likes me or agrees with me, or if I get a thumbs up on this video or a thumbs down on this video. I'm going to say what I think, and I'm going to judge myself by my internal judgment. I am validating myself. It doesn't matter if you say, John, you're the most awesome guy in the world. You're such a hard worker. You don't need to work anymore. I don't care. It doesn't matter. It matters whether I feel that is true or not. And I know whether I've put in the work or I haven't. I can make a lot of money and become successful and be a piece of shit in my own eyes because I have not met my standard. I can get lucky and become successful and not have earned that. I can get the external validation, but not get the internal validation. And the problem is with external validation is you can never get enough, because no matter how much you get, it will never validate you truly. The only way to truly validate yourself is internally, for you to love yourself, for you to believe in yourself, for you to highly value yourself, to have self-efficacy, to have true esteem in yourself. And how do you get this internal validation? How do you switch this? You start taking the steps to become a man, relying on yourself, ignoring the judgment of others. Stop letting other people think for you and start thinking for yourself. Develop your own principles, your own set of values that you live by as a man, and have confidence in them and be willing to fight for them. If you want to be a high value man, you have to do that. The next one is has boundaries. If you don't know what boundaries are, you never heard of boundaries before, there's a really good book called Boundaries. It has some Christian theology in it, so if you're not Christian, it's fine. Just read the book anyway and ignore that stuff. But learn boundaries. What is boundary? Boundaries means that you have a firm line of the standards that you will accept in your life and the way that you will allow people to interact and treat you. If you don't have boundaries, you're not going to be of high value, because people will walk all over you. Women will walk all over you. Believe me, every single woman that comes into your life will test you. She will test you to see if you have boundaries. And if you don't, she will gladly walk all over you and then walk out. Now, that does not make her a bad woman. In fact, I would say that makes her a good woman, because here's what you have to understand, is that the woman's job in a relationship, the value that she provides you, is testing you, is showing you a real reflection of the man that you are, because she knows what you're capable of and she knows what you should be. Are you living up to it? And sometimes it's going to be an ugly truth, and sometimes you're going to have to face some ugly things. Believe me. But you got to face them. And so without going off topic here, a high value man has boundaries. He does not let himself get walked all over. He makes sure that the people in his life respect him. If they don't, they're not in his life. That's it. Period. Next one. Speaking of respect, he treats people with respect, whether they deserve it or not. Because how a person treats you should not affect how you treat them. Because how they treat you is a reflection of who they are, and how you treat them is a reflection of who you are. So if you treat people badly because they treat you badly, guess what you are? You're bad. That's a reflection of you. So you treat people with respect whether they deserve it or not. Now, if they continue to treat you with disrespect and they're not worthy of being in your life, if they're crossing your boundary, like I said before, you have them exit your life. You tell them to exit stage left. You leave. You don't have people in your life that don't respect you, but you treat them with respect regardless. Now, that's hard to do. It's hard to do in many situations. I fall short of it myself sometimes. Of course, all of these things, we're all imperfect, but the important thing is we're striving for these things in order to become high value. We recognize and accept these things. The next one is that you're generous. That means that you don't count the cost of things. One of the best advice my dad gave me when I was younger is he said, don't be cheap with food or cheap with people. I've always held that if I'm going out to eat, I'm going to put the card down. Not because I'm trying to show what a big shot I am, but because I want to take care of people. I'm going to be generous. If I have something, I will give it to other people. I will help them. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm going to give away everything that I have, or if someone begs me for money that I'm going to give them money. That doesn't mean that. It means that I give things out of my own volition, not because I'm guilted, but because I have so much abundance that I can afford to help other people and to give and not to count the cost of it. That's what it means to be generous. It's really not to count the cost of the things, not to make, and it doesn't mean just being generous with your money. It means being generous with your time. It means being generous with your emotions, with your attitude, with your responses to people. That's what it means, is to not count the cost. Don't be like, oh, tit for tat is the opposite of generous. I think a lot of people confuse this. It's not all about giving away money. It's about not being tit for tat. That's what I'm talking about here. A high value man, he doesn't count the cost, especially, again, guys, with women. You go out there and you try to be a high value man, and then you go out on a date with a girl that you've invited her on the date, and then you're like, hey, let's split the check. Come on. Do you really think that's what a high value man would do? I get it. I get the whole argument behind it and blah, 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 and maybe she's using, but really, it's not about her, it's about you. If you make it about her, about if she's using you or not, you got the picture wrong. The reason why I do the shit that I do is because it's about me. It's who I am. I don't care if someone takes advantage of me, they sure, go ahead. It doesn't change that I am generous and magnanimous and treat people with respect. That's what I do. What they do is their business. What I do is my business. I'm not going to let someone take me down and make me less of a man than I am. Do you understand? So stop trying to split checks, stop trying to divide things up and trying to figure out what is fair. Be generous. And by the way, before I give you this last one, if you want to become financially free, and so you can be more generous with your money, click the link down below. Book a free 15-minute call with me or a member of my team, and we'll help you set a path of financial freedom. Helped a lot of guys so far. A lot of guys have joined my program, The Wealth That Never Runs Dry, and have had great results in building business, investing in real estate, and setting a true financial freedom plan. If you don't know how you're going to retire young, especially if you want to retire young, you don't know how you're going to become financially free, it behooves you to spend the 15 minutes, book a call. It's free. And if you're a good fit for my program, we can talk about next steps from there. If not, then at least you'll walk away with 15 minutes of my time or someone on my team's time that will help you to at least set up the plan so you can be ready to take the next steps. The last one here is not lazy, works hard. A high value man is not lazy. He gets up in the morning. He does what he needs to do. He doesn't complain about it. He is willing to work. He realizes that he's going to be working for the rest of his life, even if he's retired. Just speaking of being retired, doesn't mean you can't take breaks. It doesn't mean you can't have fun, but you always have to keep on going. You have to keep on pushing forward. If you're lazy, you cannot be high value. I'm sorry. You have to be constantly striving and constantly working to improve yourself if you want to become a high value man.